when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Trade talks terminated. President Trump has announced that he is ending negotiations with Canada, all over an advertisement put out by Ontario's government. The ad uses the words from President Ronald Reagan in a 1987 address.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time.
Essentially, in this post on True Social, he said that he believes that the ad was fake, that the message was fake. It is unclear what was misrepresented, because if you look at that speech, it was a radio address that Reagan gave in 1987. He gave it from Camp David. It is very much a full-throated defense of fair and open trade.
You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity.
For months, we have stressed the importance of distinguishing things we can control and things we can't control. We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that that policy has fundamentally changed from the policy in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And it's a situation where the United States has tariffs against every one of their trading partners to different degrees. And it's in that context that our officials, my colleagues, have been working with their American colleagues on detailed, constructive negotiations, discussions on specific transactions, specific sectors, steel, aluminum, and energy, and a lot of progress has been made. And we stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions, because it will be for the benefit of workers in the United States, workers in Canada, and families in both of our countries.
Mr. Hassett, just very quickly, what it has been so challenging about dealing with Canada in trade negotiations?
I guess the lack of flexibility, and also I would guess that leftover behaviors from like the Trudeau folks that can be very frustrating for people who are negotiating.
Sir, two questions, if I may. I know you're going around here quickly. Yeah. For just simply your assessment of the latest inflation numbers, CPI numbers, 3%.
The inflation numbers were fantastic. 48 Bloomberg economists got it wrong. It was the core was down relative to August and down relative to expectation, And the top line number actually was inflated because there was a shutdown of a refinery in Indiana that made gas prices go up a lot in September, but we've seen those have already come down, so we're highly confident that the next number will even be below this. And that's really, it's important to think about the theory of why this happens. It's not just about the numbers, right? So what happened was we got the worst inflation spike that we've had in our lifetimes because President Biden and his team had runaway spending, runaway deficit spending. I'm here to tell you that we just ran the numbers getting the monthly Treasury statement, and the deficit this year is going to be about $600 billion lower than it was last year. And that $600 billion decline is about equal, $200 billion of it is lower discretionary spending. And so because of that, there's less inflationary force pushing prices up. And so normal macroeconomics got it right when we said that Biden was going to cause inflation, and we're using it now to get it back under control.
And then on this ad that President Trump was referring to up in Canada and Ronald Reagan, have you seen the ad, sir, yourself?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Mr. Hassan, sorry, it was hard to hear you. Is there an update with regard to potentially placing tariffs on Colombia? That is something that the president...
I don't have an update for that, sorry.
Mr. Hassan, sorry, forgive me if you already addressed this, it was hard to hear you, but was there something specific that changed in negotiations with Canada that elicit that are why the president...
I'm not directly engaged in the negotiations, so you should talk with Jameson Greer, especially he'll be the one who will update you on that.
And then on the SNAP, if I could follow on the SNAP payments, are you expecting the administration to release any kind of funding for
I think Russ Vought will get back to you on that matter.
Are you optimistic that you'll be able to get a trade deal with China before November 1st?
We'll see how it goes. But we've got the top negotiators on earth, Scott Bessent and President Trump on the case.
What
so
happens
I got
if you
to
don't
go
make
back
that
now, guys.
deadline?
President Donald Trump says he is ending trade talks with Canada, threatening once again to upend the crucial economic relationship between the United States and its second biggest trading partner. He's taking issue with this ad released by the government of Ontario last week. It features audio from a 1987 speech by then President Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs on foreign goods.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs.
The Reagan Foundation put out a statement saying it believes the ad, quote, misrepresents the late president's comments. While the clip did lack context and was edited down, the theme of Reagan's address was support for free and fair trade. So it's not immediately clear which specifics the foundation took issue with. Trump reacted on social media, writing in part, the Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs, adding in all caps, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. The relationship between the United States and Canada has been tense in recent months, in part because of Trump's tariff policies. In brief remarks Friday, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney said that the country is focused on what it can control, which he says includes developing new partnerships and opportunities. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.